Well, it is the Monday after the end of the NBA season. The Lakers are champions. Jarod Hector has moved to a new apartment. Adena Jones is here from the shoe room. David Thorpe is there. He already wrote something on TrueHoop today. It's all happening. It's busy. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Championship hangover. Love it.
Wow, I feel it.
There might be coffee in here. There might not.
Might be something else.
Already empty. It's like a problem early in the show for that.
Time out.
We're promising to have a big GOAT debate this week, but first and foremost, special correspondent Adena Jones, would you please do us the honor?
Yes, I will. And I don't know if we said this last episode I was on, but like, wow, little quarantine show. It was like, okay, just do cool things that are in the bubble and we'll be done with this soon, right? No, here we are. No, it wasn't even the bubble. It's like, what are people doing in their house? Roller skating.
I like that one.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was cute. I think that was Dion Waiters. I can't remember. Here we are, like there's confetti on the ground and we did it to championship. And I think I tweeted something. It was like, came here my first day and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to report on the bubble. And I've reported on everything from fat bears to racial injustice, to coffee, to it's been amazing. It's been a ride, let's hope it never ends. All right.
Well,
Adena, before you begin, I have to say one thing. For anyone that is listening, you are missing Adena's vision in red Another Lane sweatshirt.
Oh, yes, good.
We are lucky to be able to see this.
Yeah.
The key is the stripy shoelace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I may or may not be dropping a link in the chat.
Right
now.
And I just think it was smart for your startup to make it all Blazers colors. That was cool.
Exactly. So dead. Yeah. I knew exactly what I was doing. Blazers, Bulls. There's a little gray. But yeah, we'll definitely be putting it on the TrueHoop Twitters and stuff.
I'm paying for mine today, Adena. I promise.
Yes.
Randy, I don't have one yet. Randy, you're really out here just trying to stir up trouble, asking why I don't have my Another Lane sweatshirt on.
Pay no attention to Randy. He's
such a shit starter. He's
such a shit starter.
And don't get mad at me, Adena. I won't be wearing it till probably February because it's too hot in Florida.
And Coach Thorpe for this 85-degree weather.
Hey, the NBA finals are over, but I still have to talk about Florida.
Buy a t-shirt
now.
Put him on mute. Put him as it's gray as shit and raining outside my window. Put him on mute.
Yeah.
Put him on mute.
Oh, sorry, dirty screen. Cool. So just going to go through championship celebrations, some great stats that we have, just showing how lucky we are to see LeBron right now. LeBron is the first player in NBA history to win a finals MVP with 3 different franchises. Like, I think we've all said it, but like, we got to understand what we're witnessing, what we have witnessed. And I thought it was great, like Coach said, to see LeBron embrace his former teammate UD and to win it against a team that he had played for. It was poetic. And I don't think you could have written it better to see what we have seen. And I think Scott Van Pelt asked LeBron a question last night. He said every championship means something different. And I think you look at all these, right? So you got Cleveland, hometown kid goes back. Miami, everybody hates you because of the decision. You're going to do it again. And then the Lakers, to be cemented in history on such a storied team. And then in the middle of a pandemic in the bubble. So each championship has definitely meant something different to LeBron in that sense. Something different to all of us, honestly. And then we talked about this idea of I'm on the Lakers and I got to get it done. And LeBron talks about what the Lakers need from this.
We just want our respect. Rob wants his respect. Coach Vogel wants his respect. Our organization want their respect. Laker Nation want their respect. And I want my damn respect too.
Let's go, Bron. Let's go. Like, right? Like, I want my damn respect too.
Flex.
A super flex, right? But and then yes, Danny Green next. We're gonna get to, but it's like, let's go, LeBron. And maybe I spend too much time in the trenches of Twitter, but like anyone who's ever touched a Spalding in their life, like should never. I just don't think you should ever disrespect LeBron. Yes, you can critique his game. You can critique his game for sure. No one's above that, but to threaten him and say, you know, he's not this in the clutch and I wouldn't have made that pass. And blah, blah. Like, you wouldn't have made any pass because you're sitting
because you're not in the NBA.
Yeah, you're sitting at the Sizzler. Like, this is history in the making that we're watching. And so yes, LeBron deserves all the flowers, all the respect. Speaking of not making certain passes, your boy Danny Green here, 3-time champ now. And like he said, what they gonna say now? Missed threes and everything. It's a picture of Danny smoking a cigar. Missed threes, all whatever. He was a player that LeBron trusted. He's come through numerous times for this team, and he gets to celebrate that with a chip too, as he should. Long Island's finest too, by the way. Crazy. Next up, Eels. So this was an interesting stat The Athletic put out. So it's just juxtaposition of Kobe and LeBron. So Kobe in 2009 is basically same path. He defeated Houston in the second round, defeated Denver in the conference finals, finished second in MVP voting, and won his 4th ring in Orlando.
Oh, weird.
Right? And then LeBron 20. I mean, different circumstances, right? Defeated Houston second round, defeated Denver in the conference finals, finished second in MVP voting, and won his 4th ring in Orlando. Not because he played the Orlando Magic, but because it was a pandemic. So
if you look closely, you'll see Henry and I in that Kobe picture. We were right there.
Oh man.
Yeah, we were there.
I'm looking for the shine.
I don't remember Denver in the conference finals that year though. That was surprising to me.
Yeah.
That Denver squad. Yeah.
That was like their best run ever.
That was Melo. Yeah, that was Melo making the conference finals.
Yeah. It's so crazy because everybody's like, all right, already with the Kobe's, you know, juxtaposition. So it's like, we could go do this for days. Sure.
Look how grumpy LeBron is in that picture.
Right. It's like happy Kobe, even though you probably find more grumpy Kobe's than this.
Yeah.
For sure.
They struggled. This one I thought was cool too. This was
goats everywhere.
Goats everywhere. This is Chicago All-Star year 17, 4th ring. Salute King James and Sue Bird. Both in their 17th year, both got their 4th ring. Like Sue Bird has about 20 other championships that she's won from NCAA to overseas, whatever. But in terms of WNBA, NBA, they actually won the same. So they're kind of forever connected and intertwined. I love it. Moving on, this cute photo of Rondo and his son. It's so funny because that green bottle that Rondo has like to the left of him, his son was actually drinking from it right before that. I'm like, I'm assuming it's a Sprite. It's cool. But they're just kind of soaking it up, and it was a pretty cool moment there. His son has some dope shoes too. I'm sure Chad would tell me what those are.
Those are the Giannis Zoom Free 2s.
Like,
but custom. They look like them from here.
I mean, if I'm Rondo's kid, I'm getting customs too. Right. Then this was my girl Darcy Main. She works at ESPNW. Photo. You remember Darcy? She's so cool. J.R. Smith really couldn't even wait until the buzzer to take his shirt off. He's iconic. And there's J.R. Smith, probably with like 2 minutes left in the game, shirt off. Love him for it. And then because he did that, was like, let's go.
Of course, Kuz got to go to a shirt.
Yeah, right. Kuz got his shirt off, and then Alex Caruso was like, "Why not?" Shirt off too. I want to say not as impressive. I'm not here to body shame, to each his own, right?
Dude, he's strong. He's strong.
Exactly.
You don't got any tats. That's his problem. No tats.
Yeah, exactly. You need tats to emphasize what's happening, right? So downtown LA, coronavirus or not, so there was someone celebrating downtown in an actual bubble. They put themselves in like
awesome.
And they're rolling themselves around. And I was like, you know what? I'm
not bad. Not bad.
The only thing I would hope is that they didn't like start making him crowd surf, like putting him.
Oh, if somebody just kicked it, I'd be worried.
Exactly.
If anybody's ever owned a hamster, what you know is you got to watch for the stairs.
Let's say, or a steep hill. I was worried about that too.
Yeah.
yeah. That's So yeah, hopefully we don't see cases spike in LA after this. But hey,
that was a pretty big crowd.
Yeah, I mean people were in that. Yeah, but still, it was pretty big. This actually touched me. You know, seeing Dwight go through all the things he's been through, all the ridicule, and it came to a head for him in this post that he put up. So here you go.
Don't ever give up on your dreams. You can fucking do it. I swear, just keep fighting. I swear to God, don't ever give up on yourself, man. Look at this shit, bro. I'm sorry for cursing all the kids out there. Bro, listen, don't ever give up on yourself, no matter how hard it gets. You already a champion.
Oh, like
Jeez, Dwight got me all emotional and
I
whatnot.
know.
Jeez.
Dwight's been through a lot, and
Yes.
off this team, on that team, back in Orlando winning a chip, just not how you pictured it. I think I've heard the phrase, if you make plans and watch God laugh, right? Like this is exactly that. And so I'm really happy to see him get a ring, whether it's as a role player or not, he got his ring.
He had to try out against Joakim Noah to make the team. I thought they made a mistake. In fact, I still kind of think they did, but it worked out. I did great for them.
Yeah, and the fact that like you had to try out, you had to prove your worth, and now we're having Hall of Fame talks, for
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's an easy Hall of Famer.
Exactly right, but like an easy Hall of Famer who had to fight to get on a team, and then was a big cheerleader on a bench, as coach was talking about him and JaVale McGee celebrating threes. Like, get it how you live, get it how you fit in. It takes a team for all of this, for sure.
He wasn't a lock to play in NBA this year. I'm sorry.
Right. He tried out to make the team. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, like that's absolutely what I'm trying to say. Is like, don't give up, because he could have just been like, I had a couple good years, MVPs, slam dunk contest. Like I'm good, right? But no.
It's him making it and winning that title. I mean, in this manner, obviously with the emotion, you can see how special and how much it meant to him, right? I'm not even sure had he won it when he was in Orlando, it would have felt the same way that this title felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just sometimes it works this way.
And he didn't even play.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
He and McGee had the most fun of all and never played.
The other noise in the room is like he's being very personal and quiet and emotional, but the other noise in the room is just so much surplus joy that I love these kind of like I'll go with you guys in a second. I like that.
Yeah. I think that's one of my my bucket list for sports is like to be in a championship locker room. I'm sure the champagne hurts in your eyes, but I would like
goggles.
I know. But I would like to feel it. Here's LeBron. I thought this moment was interesting because we talked about everything that the players gave up, and this just kind of culminates that.
Mama. Hey, Mama. I had to leave the locker room. They going crazy in there right now. I had to get away.
So LeBron was FaceTiming his mom, and I was saying, first of all, are you never not a kid? Are you never too old to FaceTime your mom? Right?
I don't have an iPhone, but
I don't either. But me and her figured it out. It's like we'll hang out or something. Blessed if you do have your parents here to do that. And he's always, the 16-year-old at an AAU game that wants to just show his mom the trophy. And that's what it was. And they gave up so much. Like normally Gloria would have been right there. Savannah, Bronny, everybody would have been there for him. And, this was a different type of celebration this year. So they gave up so much. And Danny Green is going to stay up a little bit. Free. Danny Green just yelled out, I'm free, because now they can actually leave the fucking bubble. It's like, give us free. That's one of my favorite lines from Amistad, if anybody.
That's why I was talking. Give us free.
Have you guys seen Amistad or remember that?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I used to say that line. I used to say that line on the bus to practice because like, give us free. My coach was like, shut up. So this was hilarious. J.R. Smith, everybody was like, yo, I can't wait till J.R. Smith's live after the game because J.R. Smith's lives are legendary. Especially remember in the beginning of the bubble, the NBA was like, you got to get off live because you're doing too much. This was him on the bus. And take a look at the comments and look for Quinn Cook's comment.
Oh, I know.
There's always Snoop for me. QC? What QC at?
Okay,
We left.
for those who are watching, Quinn Cook comments in an IG live, yo, I gotta walk back after winning a fucking ring. They left Quinn Cook at the arena.
How far is it?
That I don't know, but I know it's not close. I mean, anybody's like been to Disney, like Wide World of Sports is here, and then hotels are where they are. Like,
he probably hitchhiked. It's a haul.
Yeah, like he had to like have a reporter drive him back or something. And
Did
I
you
really,
see I like Swish ain't fucking reading shit.
like, oh, but watch, listen to him. Swish is in a mood right now.
Was always true for me. QC, where QC at? Yo, we left QC, bro.
What is they talking about, bro? Them niggas be hating.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, QC said, tell him to come back and get him, yo. Cheese, we left him.
Come back.
We left QC, bro.
QC got the fly. QC got the fly, boy. We was looking for you. Back in the red boy and get the wee.
He was like, yo, you gotta fly. Red Bull, give you wings. I was like, wow,
Yeah, wait a minute, get his wings. We're not going back to get him.
they did QC dirty. I was like, I can't wait
So
to.
dirty.
I gotta tune into QC's Instagram and.
Oh my God.
We need to know what happened. Like, how
Did he make it home?
That's what I said. I gotta tune in his Instagram.
Yeah.
I looked late last night, and he hadn't said anything, but I feel like he's gonna come back. Or another thing, I just felt kind of sad about. I was like, I just want to know the future of Big Face Coffee after this.
Oh yeah.
I'll be tuned in, and it was a good night. There were so many more clips. There was so much. It was a lot, and shout out to everybody who made it through the bubble. Reporters, players, everyone. Shit, even us. Fuck it.
Even us.
Adena, you kept us on top of everything. Thank you for taking such good care of us.
No doubt, always.
Yeah, the big face. We need to. I hope it. Look, if they had like a big face brand at your local coffee shop, like a sub brand, wouldn't you buy it? Right?
Yep, all of it. $10.
If I drank coffee, I would.
Oh yeah, all of it.
No, Jarod doesn't drink coffee.
More of a tea drinker, but
Okay.
There's two of us. I've never had coffee. Before we get into the debate, a quick word about Jimmy Butler and LeBron. And this is something we'll probably talk about this week regarding LeBron. So Jimmy Butler was unbelievable. We can all say, like, had the Heat won this whole thing, he was the easy MVP of the series, whatever. There was even talk that maybe he should be, even if the Lakers, won, until Game 6, where he scored 12 points. And my point on that is, imagine had that been LeBron in a closeout game.
Oh God.
Scoring just 12 points, right?
Would have been disaster.
Yeah.
Never heard the end of it. Like
Butler's incredible. We're all enormous fans. You cannot be. He plays the game the right way. I love how he communicates with his teammates every game. Henry mentioned he had talked about Goran in the going. Hope we have him for the next game, whatever. But he ain't LeBron. Like he just ain't LeBron. Like there's just people don't understand the pressure to produce, and LeBron just keeps doing it. It's extraordinary.
That was like LeBron against Boston.
Huh?
When LeBron was first in Cleveland, he had like one bad game against Boston, and they like were booing him and even halftime.
He was unbelievable in that series, bad in that last game. But I have long since seen as I told you all those years ago, he's out of here. He's going to Miami to play with Wade because he was done. You could see that just enough. And we'll get into this whole thing because as we debate GOAT, it's impossible to ignore teammates. Like it makes a difference, right?
Sure.
We'll get into it. So, Henry, how are we doing this?
Oh, well, let me do a quick little note. So I got up at 4 o'clock this morning. 4 o'clock this morning.
Oh my God.
And which is why I'm probably going to use like nonsensical words all show. But I was mostly editing David's excellent story, which has now been published. And I really, from like kind of looking to David's stuff, I was like, oh, here's what I like about this Lakers team is nothing is plan A. Like they tried to get Tyronn Lue and failed, right? They tried to have Magic Johnson running the team and he left. Like and a lot of the players they tried to get, they didn't get, right? And they were like they held up signing everyone on the roster, including the AD trade, waiting for Kawhi, who they didn't get.
Oh, hold on, I'm muting myself. You're right.
Oh, something's happening.
Hazel.
I like this. I like this notion that this is how 2020 is, right? Kobe died, right? Like nothing went perfectly for the Lakers, but they just kept getting after it, right? Just like Dwight was saying, right? Just keep slogging.
Oh, yeah, don't give up on yourself, right? Like it can happen.
Oh, there's Hazel's winning.
Hazel's if she's, this from. Oh man, Hazel wants to join TrueHoop.
Yeah.
It's also going back to the article we published in June. When all these things are happening, it's nice to have LeBron and AD. Like at the end of the day, other guys played great and Vogel was amazing. They don't win without all of that. But having two of the best, whatever, 3, 4, 5 players in the world who fit well, like those guys fit really well together. They're not, remember the Wade LeBron tug of war initially in Miami, that never happened as you would expect it not to, given the positions they play. And before we get into your debate, I do wonder if you heard Anthony Davis when asked about free agency, he didn't at all suggest that, oh, I'm coming back. I think he was ambiguous only because does he get a 3-year deal? Does he just pick up his option? Those are fair questions that he shouldn't have an answer to yet, because no one really knows what the cap's going to look like going forward. It's hard to imagine he would leave, but not impossible.
Yeah.
We'll be discussing this, I'm sure, going forward.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the other thing is, at the time they filled out the roster when they had like really no money. They gave Danny Green a good deal, and then everybody else had like minimum deals, right? They signed all these players no one else wanted, and there was a lot of analysis. I also participated in this, basically saying like, we can't project that this team is going to be excellent, right? They're going to be giving real minutes to like. What we didn't see coming was how great a defense that would make together.
Yeah.
Right. Like these are people doing things they've never done before. And it was awesome. I mean, this is like, that to me is like super inspiring. Okay. So the greatest of all time is a great topic for today because LeBron James is winning everything. And so there are a lot of different ways we could set this up. I was sort of hoping to lure someone else into going first, but didn't. So I'm going to go first where I'll present 5. Here's how it's in our planning document is I will trot out my top 5 of all time presently. Jarod will do the same on Wednesday. And then it says Friday, David wastes everybody.
although I think Coach and I's top 5 are probably going to be pretty similar.
Wait, and then like Henry changes his on Friday, like, oh, but actually.
It's totally possible.
Henry changed his an hour ago.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Oh, I didn't even go back in the doc because
don't worry. I went for a run. And I got upset about
we were going to argue about your number 5.
We were.
Yeah.
I love your list. It's not right, but I love it.
Your day's Friday, David.
Wow. I don't love it.
I haven't even started yet, and David's already saying I'm wrong.
All right, let's go. How are we going to do it? Number 5?
Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
I honestly feel, apologies to Shaq, because I watched Shaq outplay Tim Duncan face to face, head to head a bunch of times. But of course, Tim Duncan, 5 titles. Here's one of my favorite things about Tim Duncan. A bunch of different players came through during his time and had their best play alongside Tim Duncan. And that means things are happening that we don't see. And he doesn't have the gaudiest stats, not in this conversation. His stats don't rank, but this thing where you keep winning championships and winning games, they had the highest winning percentage as a franchise this whole period. He played alongside really great players and really not great players. I don't think I need to explain Tim Duncan anymore.
He wasn't in my top 5, but he was under strong consideration. I have no argument, and I will add to your argument. He was the best player on all of those championships, I think, unless you would argue David Robinson for one of them. Didn't David win one?
I mean, in 99, but not even. I think
right. Duncan probably was.
Duncan was better that year.
And also a just phenomenal leader, the best way possible. According to people I've talked to who played with him and were connected to the program, the franchise. You're not stupid for putting him number 5. I didn't do it, but you're not stupid. That's for sure.
Henry of that generation. So that's Kobe, all those dudes. Duncan, to me, is the best player of that generation. It's not Kobe Bryant. It is Tim Duncan.
Yeah. Pardon me 1 second. I'm also having a dog issue.
Dogs are, they're.
This way, my lady.
Hazel actually like peeked up while you were out.
Did she?
Yeah, we saw like her back.
Because there's a guy here doing stuff, and so she's like, "What's going on out there?"
Is she allowed on the bed, Jarod?
Oh, she is. Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Because she was on the bed.
Yes, that is. She's not everywhere. No, everywhere is her place.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Number 4. Maybe you've heard of this guy. Oh, look, Judy did what?
Okay.
Magic
Graphics.
Amazing. Okay. Wilt Chamberlain. Look, this is a stupid argument. I mean, in the sense that you could put a lot of different people here. Wilt. Okay, well, I'll just read some of the stats.
100. That's it.
Yeah, 100 points in a game, 4-time MVP, 30.1 points per game, career percentage, shooting 54%, 22.9 rebounds per game, 118 50-point games. What? He had a whole season averaging 50 points a game. I guess if you were going to ding him, you'd say he only won 2 titles.
There's a few dings we can throw.
And you'd say that he played against, that the league wasn't big or athletic then. I would say though, here's what really gets me about Wilt is they changed the rules on him a bunch of times. Like he was fighting the league. And I'm a fan of Pioneers. I just felt like now we know how length and athleticism and strength and size work in the game. Back then they had to learn that, right? Like he was doing new things, right? And well, go ahead, David. You seem like you want to crush him a little. Go ahead.
Coach off the top rope.
I'm a good teammate, so first I'm going to support you. I'm not going to tell you the details because I'm keeping that to myself.
Okay.
But I spent an afternoon once with the Red Auerbach,
Yeah.
watching John Calipari's UMass team with Marcus Camby practice at GW at George Washington, and he said some really amazing things about Wilt that surprised me. And then for a summer, you remember Butch Van Bredikoff?
Sure.
So former coach of his. So Butch spent a summer like basically interning for me, if you can believe that. He just came. I was doing my basketball academy back in the mid '90s, and he would just come to watch and talk. And he also had some, I thought, pretty amazing things to say, just about the kind of person he was. And it was all positive stuff, more so than I would have expected. But it's like saying Babe Ruth is the best of all time when he played against such a tiny pool of talent compared to what happened later. You can't punish Wilt for that. It's not his fault. But I couldn't put him in this discussion because of that. But he's definitely a guy that if you wanted to argue, well, what could he do in this league? Oh, he'd destroy this league. I mean, there is nothing that guy could not do in this league that he did then. He led the league in assists one year. So when you can throw extra help to bigs, which is what you do now, that would not have been a problem for him. He'd have passed the ball just fine. He was as athletic as any big we've ever. He was Anthony Davis plus 2 inches maybe, or an inch. He was that kind of athlete. He couldn't shoot like AD, which is a whole different thing. But it was amazing. It's hard for me to really judge it when he played against such little talent. It wasn't just the lack of a bunch of other big guys. They had a few. For sure, they had a few guys. There were some tall people. Bill Russell. I've seen pictures of Bill Russell next to like Kareem and Anthony Davis or something, and he was just as tall as those guys as an old man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he was really tall, but there's so few, and also the coaching, except for like Red, was so awful.
Yeah.
And he was unfortunate for that for most cases, but I mean, he was certainly amongst the greatest ever for sure.
Well, and Dave, I'll tell you what I thought about with this Wilt thing was Tim Duncan, in the sense that like Tim Duncan doesn't. Well, they're opposites, right? Like Tim Duncan had a coach with a real vision and got Tim to use his size and everything to win championships without gaudy stats, right? Wilt didn't have that.
Right.
I feel like, it's kind of a little bit of a plus minus versus a box score stats debate here, and like where Tim Duncan would be your plus minus guy. But that's me. I'm like, it's a bummer that Wilt didn't have Greg Popovich, right? Would have been amazing. Okay, now we're getting, I think, to my controversial pick.
Oh, it's controversial.
Oh, I think I know this one.
Whoa.
I knew that. I never, ever did I doubt that you would not have Steph Curry in the top.
It's not that I'm particularly some giant Steph fan. I think that when we talk about the greatest of all time, we just hate on today's players, and I think that we shouldn't. Okay, I here's a couple of. Okay, here's the 3 titles in 4 years during the period of peak LeBron. I think we're going to look back in history as like that is an unbelievable accomplishment. While I like Pioneers, we were talking about Wilt. He invented a new way to play. He played on a roster that was the same roster the year before. Then they like invented a new way to play, and what dynasty? Here's a little. This is totally cherry picking, which is not fair for this debate, but I'm going to do it anyway.
You need to fight me unfair anyway.
2017 playoff run. His net rating, which is like, this is his plus minus averaged over 100 possessions. So you can compare without pace being a factor. Plus 18.4 when he was in the game, while he was shooting 66% true shooting percentage. He played 601 playoff minutes, during which time the Warriors outscored their opponents by 245 points. Also, by the way, KD won MVP of the finals that year.
Well, and so that's sort of my critique, right? Like, I can't have Steph there at that level if you don't have Kevin Durant up there, because Kevin Durant's a better player. Like, yes, like I understand all the shooting, but like he can do all that approximately like on offense and is also 7 feet tall, right? And like size matters. And there are things he can do that Steph just can't, right? Like,
well, then why didn't Oklahoma City ever win shit?
There's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons about
the answer to that anyway.
So it's so that's my like little piece there.
Well, I want to say another thing for Henry on Curry. Your point about changing the game. One thing I love to do is imagine a time machine, right, for players or teams. And I don't think there's another player in the history of the league that could teleport earlier in time, later in time, and have the rest of the league just have no idea what to do. Even Shaq, they had Wilt. He was way bigger than Wilt, but they had dealt with that before. Jordan, we've seen athletic two guards. Even LeBron, as amazing as he was, they'd seen other great athletes and other great ball handlers, normally not in the same position, but it doesn't change the way you guard too much. This is the one guy, and he's not in my top 5, and it was mostly for defense more than anything. But this is the one guy where and what a great science fiction movie this would be, let him go to the 60s, 70s, or 80s for one game and just tell the team's coach, whisper, just let him do whatever the fuck he wants. Right? He was scoring 90 points because you could not believe. It's like trying to walk on water. Well, you can't walk on water. Why would you ever try it? The first time you see someone do it, you keep waiting for him to fall. Mm-hmm. They would be dizzy looking at Steph Curry in his range and his confidence. And he missed 3 in a row, and they're like, oh, here we go. He was just getting lucky. And then he drained 6 of the next 8. So I get it. He has changed the game for sure. The defensive side of the court, my picks all had a two-edged to them, a double, they both sides kind of thing. I think he led the league in steals twice. He's not a terrible defender by any stretch of the imagination. It knocked it for me a little bit, but you're not stupid. I mean, Curry's incredible. One of the greatest ever for sure.
And that stat that I'm citing encapsulates defense as much as offense, right? Like when you outscore your opponents by 245 points over a playoff run, like if you give up a bucket, it costs you just as much as if you score one, right? Like but it's these numbers that convince me, right? Is that Kevin Durant's never had a team effect like that. In fact, nobody has, right? This is the thing. Like your basketball team just wins way more and steps out there. And, people have dug deeper into his defense. And, I'm not saying that his defense is like, making the Warriors defense elite, but it does get better when he's on the court. Like it might be a little hard to assess what's going on, but, when he gambles for steals, it's a good time to gamble for steals and he gets them at a high rate. And, whatever.
He's not a minus. He's a plus defender. I've always argued that for him. Your point though, about, winning 3 titles in 4 years in the era of LeBron is a phenomenal point. Also for kind of explaining why LeBron doesn't have as many rings as Jordan, but it's Jarod's point. I really considered Durant in my top 5 because when he joined that Golden State team, it certainly made it into a juggernaut, obviously. And it's not fair to knock Curry for that. It just explains what happened.
Here's the one thing I'll say, Henry, because again, all the advanced numbers, I don't disagree with any of that. And he's incredible. And the impact he has is great. But there is something about that final, those moments where, and defenses did it to them in the finals prior. You can get him out of what he wants to do just because of the nature of the finals and the size of the people on the floor. You can't block a 7-footer's mid-range. Like you just can't, right? And it's not Curry's fault he's 6'3", but like but so he shouldn't get dinged for that. But Durant shouldn't get no credit because he's 7 feet. You know what I mean? It's just sort of like, hey, those are the breaks.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's true. I guess I'm looking for, like, if Durant can do everything Steph can do, why doesn't he do it? Like, why
Here's
don't
what
they
I
have
think about
these
that.
runs, right? Like,
I wonder
but like
if we ever gave KD a team like how Bron had, where it's like, okay, you're the guy, we surround you with 4 shooters, and you are the dude who has the ball. There is no doubt in my mind he would be 38-7 for a season, and they'd be incredible. But that's never been, even in Oklahoma City, that was never what he was given. That was never the circumstances around him.
He's a primary ball handler. He's never been the primary ball handler.
Right.
And like LeBron, and I'm not saying, I don't think you're right. He probably could. I'll say one thing on Curry's side. He allowed, this is when I looked at all my players, the only one that is in everyone's top 5 who I don't think is really the kind of teammate you always should be, and that's MJ. And although I think he got much better the last 3 years in his first 3 rings, but Curry allowed Durant to do his thing. And I've written about this years ago, maybe even when I was at ESPN some, where he just let Durant late in the game. Okay, Durant wanted the ball. Curry clearly should have had the ball. But if Durant wanted it, he's like, okay, he just didn't fight that. And we know off the court, we know when Draymond and Durant had their tiff last year, it was Curry that settled it. He went to see them in person, went to Draymond's house. And had there not been all these injuries, they would have won 3 in a row, which would have been something, right? Yeah, Curry deserves mention. And tell you what, if they win it next year, which no one has any clue what next year is going to look like, and now he's got 4, and he doesn't have Durant, like
right. Well, that's the thing, right? If he's able to do that and sort of like he's back in the MVP discussion, they win again, right? It's sort of like then it's like, okay, like he's done it now in 3 different iterations, right? No Durant, with Durant, no Durant again at advanced age. Then it's like, well, there's no denying, right? It's that sort of thing you do in your brain. And let's be real, Draymond should have passed that ball to KD. Everybody knows that.
That I was say one last thing is like that before they were a championship winning team and long before they had Kevin Durant, like Steph didn't get some amazing roster, right? Like it wasn't like the whole league was like, oh my gosh, can we get Draymond Green? Like that was not how it was, right? Like like it became that, right? That's the thing that Durant hasn't done, right? Like they actually had good rosters in Oklahoma City, right? And they had good players and they were, I saw them in the finals, but to me, like, 5, 6, 7 players. Like Andre Iguodala was knocking around the league, like not quite finding his role, like with a big salary for a long time. Like all those things happened there and then, and I'm not crediting Steph with all of that, but that's the kind of magic that makes champions. And it doesn't, like most players who have certain skill sets don't achieve that magic, and I feel like it matters.
Iguodala, if you remember, I forget his quote last year, but we quoted him in an article we did, Henry, where he basically just said the greatest things ever about Steph. And I don't think he was being ironic or sarcastic. Yeah. I think he was being authentic. And so, yeah, your point is great to me. It's a TBD. I want to see a little bit more, but there
is 2 things before you get on.
Please.
It's like, I definitely love a person who like has qualifiers on their list and they just don't jump around. Like this whole idea of being a pioneer, and it seems like you're going to stick with that in your list. So respect. Like I think that's the one thing that yes, KD is an amazing player, but are we going to call him a pioneer at the end of the day? Possibly. I mean, at the end of the day, or 10 years from now, some may, some will. I just don't think that there's an argument at all for Curry being a pioneer. And then secondly, shit, I forgot what I was going to say.
No, do it. I want it. We need this. You were ready to rock.
Something else I was going to say about your list, but I definitely respect when people don't. I wanted to ask, like, when making your list, because I find that I have this issue, because you talked about like in the era of LeBron, right? Like there are eras of the NBA. There's like LeBronzoic, Mesozoic, like all these eras.
Mesozoic.
I don't know. There's like all these eras. Do you find yourself like, nah, I got to leave Wilt, in the Arbard's age, and I got to bring, but
Paleolithic.
Yeah, there's like AD, BC, there's like before Stern, after Stern. Like, do you find that to be difficult? Because I honestly want to do like 5 over here and 5 over there whenever I do it.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a lot. David and I talked about it last week. And I think if we wanted to be accurate, right, we would have all these layers and we'd spider it all out, and there'd be like, this rule change and that thing, and like threes are a giant factor in this game now, and like they just didn't use them before, and like, so do you ding someone for that or not, and on and on. I made the case to David that like I think what we're doing with the GOAT conversation is a little different from like we write long, nuanced, advanced stats based things. This is not that, right? This is like a Martian lands, and they're only going to learn 5 names from basketball.
Wow,
Which ones are they going to learn? So we're just like crushing all of these nuances into just like this blunt instrument. And because that's how our brains like to learn stuff, right? That's just like so yeah, you're right. Like it's stupid. Like
this is way more fun. It's way more barbershop. You only have 30 minutes in barbershop to get a lineup, and this is it.
Yeah. And and similarly, like, if you end up with like, I don't know, let's say you got to hang out with the greatest singer of all time, you might like to hear them sing Happy Birthday, right? Like it doesn't mean it's the greatest song ever, but that's just what they can do right in front of you, right? Like, and I feel like this is like, yeah, I know we're sort of messing around in this space.
One of the great things I love, Henry,
totally cop to it. Like I have been listening to these my whole working life, and I've always just been like, everybody just friggin' just hates on today's players, which to me is like, it's amazing to me. I'm like David said, if you put Steph Curry in a game, like we were joking about Dame Lillard in like, the 1950s, like, he's by far better than everybody. So like, why is he nowhere on this list? Like, you know what I mean?
Think about it. Bob Cousy couldn't dribble with his left hand. Like, it was like ridiculous.
And neither could Dr. J. Steph Curry against the bad boy Pistons would bludgeon them. He wouldn't bother going in the paint. No need. They didn't guard
bomb threes.
So who's writing this movie though? Because you've already given me a dope plot. Like, go back, whisper in the coach's ear, like this Back to the Future, I don't know. It has to be done.
Who knows how to write a movie?
You know what'll happen though with Adena? All those coaches from back then, they yank him immediately. What's he doing? They toss him on the bench because they freak out and not know, because little guys aren't supposed to do that. Big men are supposed to go on the post. Like, they freak out every time something happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Durant might be the only one where he would have a similar. I mean, he would score 90, but they saw George Gervin, right, who was close to that. He wasn't quite as athletic as Durant and didn't shoot threes, but they saw a super tall, long guy, with great skills, whatever. But Curry is just like, he'd make a living from 25 feet, and they would have no idea what to do because they're so uncomfortable guarding. The idea of hand checking is so ridiculous. Watch the tape. Nobody was guarding anybody.
Right.
Now they got in the paint, they would boo a little bit, but that still happens now all the time, right?
The idea, right? You have to come get him at 30-something feet. That's foreign. I'm not going out that far. No one's doing anything out there. Coach and Henry, I have a question for you as you continue your list. You know the great Hall of Famer Bob Ryan always says, when you make these lists, you have to make separate lists. Centers are not allowed to be on your top 5 list. They have to have their own list, and you put everybody else together. How do you guys feel about that? Because early he thinks the rules were skewed to dominate big men. So your top 5 would have nothing but big men in it. So he's like, big men out, they have their own list, and then you do everybody else. I don't know, just a thought.
The Martian's struggling with that.
Right. I mean, they're on the court. Bob Ryan just trying to be cantankerous. They're on the court. They're a part of the team. I've got a center on my team. Actually,
so do I.
I did my team a little bit different. Yeah, I know you do. I know who your number 1 is. All right, so number 2, Henry.
Oh, we should do a fun game where we guess each other. I think I can probably guess David's. I don't know, Jarod.
No chance.
I'm a little iffier. But Katie better be on there. No, I'm just
yeah, I think I could maybe get. You're right. I'm gonna do that for Jarod on.
Katie's not in my top 5. No.
Okay, there you go. This answers a lot. Number 2.
Jordan, number 2. Yep.
Pretty easy. Yep.
It's weird. All these players so far have to explain how good they are to explain why I put them there, but this one I have to do the opposite, right? Like,
yeah. Why is he number 2?
Oh, look at that young Michael Jordan picture.
USA.
My Michael Jordan thing. Of course, these are the top 2, right? We're all gonna have the top 2.
Right.
And in praise of Michael Jordan, I would say that the scoring ridiculous, the highlights ridiculous, the titles ridiculous. But the thing that really, my memory of watching Michael Jordan was every damn play. It seemed like, I know it's a bit of a hallucination of bad memory, but like, it seemed like both ends, every play, everything that had to be done. Like you never felt comfortable if your team was playing against him, and you always felt great if you were rooting for him. It just seemed like, I'd never seen anything like that. I'd never seen that where it just seemed like everything was going his way, and because he made it go his way. Just incredible. My favorite Jordan play was the stealing it from Karl Malone. Still, I feel like that was like,
oh, it was great.
Freaking incredible.
Right. Six NBA rings.
Yeah.
Two, not one, two Olympic gold medals.
Mm-hmm.
He was Bobby Knight's best player.
88, right?
No, 84.
No.
And John Thompson was 88. And Bobby Knight said to people, it's been written about since, like during practices, Bobby Knight made comments, this guy's gonna be the best player of all time. And he didn't like Jordan. Jordan was a North Carolina kid. But Bobby Knight saw then what we didn't see that at North Carolina. He was a great college player. There's a reason why he was drafted third. It wasn't just because Akeem and Bowie were so tall. Not everyone saw it.
Sam Bowie.
Right. I can't stand Bobby Knight as a person. But his knowledge of the game is fair to say is phenomenal, right? He's a master. And he saw what Jordan saw. But he also won a national championship too. That's 9 titles, right? That's pretty damn good. Although the Dream Team one was the easy one, right? Obviously that wasn't competitive. The other ones were competitive. So yeah, he has to be top 2. And I did not root for him when he had 0 rings. I didn't want him to win any of them. I rooted for a different team. And I never would acknowledge he was the best ever until he won like maybe 4 or 5 early. Okay. He's the best.
It's just ridiculous how, I mean, that period when he was really young and athletic, it was just overwhelming. Yeah, he's pretty stinking good. I guess
Henry, I wonder who number 1 is.
Not number 1.
It's not because of last night either, but if you guys are listening to this, you're missing my awesome graphics.
LeBron, of course, LeBron is number 1.
You don't have Kobe Bryant in your top 5. Oh my God.
Not even consideration.
Kobe's nowhere near my top 5.
Look, the internet is going to attack.
Yeah, well, sorry, internet.
Well, actually, Henry, I don't know if you do this intentionally or not. You could actually play a 5-on-5 game with this team. Like
we're gonna do that.
Works.
I did that too. I thought I as an old coach, and I'll deal more on Friday, but Henry, I did what you. I thought about that, Jarod, when I saw Henry's list. You don't have to do whatever you want, Jarod. Please do whatever you want. But in my coaching mind, my team had to play together. Yeah.
I'm just glad I got to draft first, so you guys we'll play against each other. But these are my 5.
My 5 is a tough 5 to beat.
My 5 is going to beat your 5. Just to be fair,
I don't think so.
I'm sure of it.
Listen.
I just want to recap. My 5
is so good.
My 5 has Steph Curry and Michael Jordan as guards. LeBron James and Tim Duncan playing forward, and Wilt Chamberlain center. You're talking trash to my 5?
Yeah, it would be amazing games for sure. All right,
Coach Thorpe, I know for sure who one of your 5 is. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who your point guard is, Coach, for sure.
Well, you know who 3 of them are because no one's not picking Jordan and LeBron. Right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, my 6'9" point guard.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck out of Steph Curry.
So really,
I have trouble guarding him.
It's a top 3, right? Because no one's not picking LeBron or Michael Jordan. So we're
they've got to be. It's fair to say, and Henry, you made a point right away when you said you would have done this before last night. I agree with you. We've talked a lot about it. LeBron, without question, is top 2. The debate is a silly debate in a sense. We're having fun being silly. But he's not a 3. Like he's definitely top 2 as I see it anyways, as good as Kareem is and Magic and those guys.
I don't land at LeBron because like I love his game or
right.
We have some great personal relationship or whatever. Like it was really like I actually when LeBron was young and in 2007 I started ESPN and working with John Hollinger, and maybe 2000 I don't know. Pretty early in my time at ESPN, Hollinger wrote an advanced stats-based story saying basically that like LeBron could be the best player of all time. He's on track to possibly be that. And my reaction was stupid and emotional and was kind of like, hold on, hold your horses here. And then we talked about it. Everybody was talking about that article. And I had to sort of admit that I just didn't love watching him play. Like maybe that was like really what it was about. The way that he like is so cerebral and like very stationary with the ball just seemed so un-Jordan-esque to me. I don't know. But over time, like I just landed this with like, I'd prefer he weren't the best player of all time, if I'm totally honest. But if you, I mean, just because like he's not that fun to watch. But the fact is, like, if you just look at the numbers, if you're just a total scientist about it, like it's this guy. Like it just is. Like he steps on the court and his team gets to the finals like that. Like no matter, he's played with some terrible rosters, which I blame him for a little bit, to be honest. But the fact is, like, there's nobody. There's like if LeBron and MJ were in the same game, same time, like this is a bigger, stronger, faster dude. Like it's just crazy how good he is at basketball.
Genetics. Sometimes that matters, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think LeBron said it last night when he was talking to SVP. He was like, you know, it's a mind game, obviously, and where his mind is. But then he also thanked God for giving him this talent.
Physical marvel.
Yeah. Never gonna knock him for not being a cerebral player, like Henry said, but like talent and God-given talent goes into it for sure.
Yeah.
And he's earned it. I live in a world where I see lots of tall people, and ain't none of them LeBron James.
Yeah.
Right? He's worked for that. What do you think is his single greatest accomplishment? Right?
God.
I didn't think of it until today, where I thought, okay, this is the most impressive thing that he's done. What do you guys think?
The title in Cleveland.
I was gonna say that too.
I mean, yeah, that was. I mean, God, yeah. 3. And again, I don't care about Draymond nut punching and Curry was. No, they were up 3-1. They had to win one game, and he literally carried them to 3 consecutive wins. Like that was incredible.
And then incredible. Just like a storytelling perspective, you know, prodigal son, all that. It's right for Miramax in the next film.
And Miramax.
I would have argued with that. What you said was right. To me, it's 3 championships on 3 different franchises, because we all know it is a team game. It isn't a one-on-one game. And there's so many things that have to happen. So the fact that on two different places, his team weren't loaded with talent, that's pretty incredible. Miami, fair to say, was pretty damn talented. This team has AD phenomenal, and that's pretty much it beat up Danny Green, who even admitted during the finals, I hope I can last to the end. Like he just was a shell of himself, and a bunch of minimum guys, which sounds like we're describing the Cleveland. When he lost to the Warriors, in the first time he went to the finals, their second leading scorer was Timofey Mozgov at 14.5 a game. Like what? Like what are you talking about? So I mean, Bam Adebayo way better than Timofey Mozgov, right?
Right.
So Mossy. So the fact that you have to have so many things right, and Jordan doesn't have to apologize for only being in one place at all. And certainly we know the drama. That's one of the cool things about that documentary that Henry still hasn't seen. Is there was a lot of shit going on. It wasn't just like, hey, everything's hunky-dory, where are the Bulls? No, it was a mess. But it ain't the same as having to do it at 3 different places, 2 of the 3, with a modicum of talent beyond your top teammate. That's extraordinary to me, and deserves the fact that he's been to 10 and won 3 of the stages. No one's done it for a reason, and been the best player, I should say, and been the best player hands down. Well, Davis is right there. LeBron deserved the MVP because of his last 2 games, last one in particular. But you could have given it to Davis. His numbers were extraordinary in the finals too, and he had 15 rebounds last night.
I know. So the Heat, when he went there, were nobody else on the roster, basically, right? So that's a bad team. That's a bad roster, right? And then Cleveland was among the worst teams in the league when he went back. And then obviously the Lakers were terrible before he went there. I feel like these are like, I don't really care. I don't ding Kevin Durant for joining a great team. I don't think it's terrible to join a great team. Lots of great players play with great players. It's fine. But the fact is, this guy went to terrible. He played with a lot of, we were the big move of last night was starting Alex Caruso over super old Dwight Howard, like who both make minimum money. Like neither of those guys is going to be a starter in the finals again. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like it's because LeBron's there. It's the only reason. Yeah. Anyway.
I think you're right. I think
the other thing too about LeBron, I'll say, so Coach, you mentioned the 10 finals. This is year 17, and of his 17 years, 14 of them have been deep playoff runs. I mean, That's fucking incredible, man. Like, he's not having years where it's like, I'm not doing anything. Like, he's playing deep into May and June, literally since he got into the NBA. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point, Jarod. Like, every single counting career-long tally of playoff performance achievements, right? Like minutes, points, like he's the top in all-time history of all of those things, right? That's a huge, come on, that really, really matters.
Yeah, I think you and I are in agreement on that. I came around a couple years ago on it. So just to put a cap on last night, he was so marvelous. He's not been playing this way all 4 quarters. He's been picking spots. We wrote about this, but from the get-go last night, it was almost like he was thinking, I don't know if they can last a whole game against us. I'm going to blow it all out right now. And if they can, well, then I may be in trouble, but I'm going to go down. I'm not going to pace myself. He was attacking the rim early. He was taking plays off defensively. AD wasn't. LeBron was. But what he did offensively and in both Game 5 and Game 6 was, for a guy who's going to be 36 in December, extraordinary. Yeah, it was.
With him being 36 and year 17, I wonder in the back of my head, I just don't know if anybody wants to say it out loud, how many more seasons do we have of LeBron, or maybe this LeBron?
They've got to manage him right. They've got to listen. He was the MVP of the finals and he deserved it. AD was right there. So manage him right. He's not going to fall that much next year. He is someone who dedicates his body and all of that the right way. He's not going to get better. They need to manage him right. He needs to agree to load. How many games did he miss this year? Not many. It's another thing.
Yeah. Got to load manage.
Never missed a playoff game. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, I tweeted that last night. The best ability is availability, right? Like being there for every playoff game that's humongous. Like, I mean,
I don't know what they can do. I don't know what they can do salary wise, but they need to try to help him more and limit his minutes some during the season, if there is one, which I think there will be.
They're going to lose a lot of these players, but it strikes me that if you are willing to take a minimum deal, you know where you want to go now, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there'll be
a new crop of minimum guys will come in.
Yeah, some of these guys have raised their value. They'll go somewhere else. Caruso, I think, might be a free agent. We'll start looking at this now.
Yeah, Markieff will.
He's easily replaced.
Rondo. There are 4 players who played real minutes who won't be back or will need raises, which they can't afford to give them. So, like,
and KCP was on a 2-year deal, right? This is year 2 of a 2-year.
I just looked it up this morning. I don't want to lie.
He was really good too.
Yeah.
As I said last week, I took my KCP slander. Like, I was like, yo, this guy's legit. Like,
fast. I don't remember being so fast. I really don't.
I mean, they got into Hero and Duncan. Like, those guys were feeling it when they were seeing ghosts sometimes when they came up. Like, should I shoot? I don't know. Like,
that's why I told Henry yesterday on the phone last night during the game. I said, if someone wants to play a trick on Tyler Hero, they should dress up with Alex Caruso mask on Halloween, because Caruso and then he said, put that in the article. Caruso.
Check it out.
Did you take it out? I read it too.
Just like an editor.
You son of a bitch. No. Caruso.
No, it was a dick move. It was. Sorry about
Caruso, I don't care. Caruso got into Hero. Hero was terrible in the first half. He airballed I told Henry he took a 4-foot and shot it 3 feet. Like, he airballed a 4-footer. Caruso was in him. And they don't win without, he and KCP's speed defensively was very important. Markieff actually had a good series. He's replaceable, but he was fine. But Caruso was better than fine. KCP was better than fine. Rondo was amazing.
Yeah, so they're all replaceable, but they have to be replaced. You know what I mean? Like,
no, Markieff is replaceable. Those guys aren't so replaceable.
Right.
I don't think it's so easy to find that level of defense and understanding how to play. Rondo too.
Rondo's role's big.
Come on.
He was really good.
There was parts of the game last night where LeBron let Rondo take them off the court. He was managing his rest that way. He wasn't coming out of the game. He was managing his rest that way, and Rondo was scoring. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That was the Lakers were deserving champs for sure.
Okay. Well, Steph Curry, 3rd best all time. Let's call it there.
Joe was really over at that point in time. It was.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. All right. Thank you, Adena. Thank you, Jarod. Congratulations on the new place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The cool graphics. Bye, Dave.